You're listening to WPRS
on the Z-Talk Radio Network.
The next stop is the WarrenXchange Paranormal Radio Show on the Z-Talk Radio Network.
The views expressed and opinions given by the individual hosts and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Z-Talk Radio, its affiliates, or sponsors.
Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
The WarrenXchange with your hosts, Al Warren.
Welcome, and you are now at the WarrenXchange. We have Richard Ruland. He's the host of Hunting the Unknown Truth, and he's a ghost hunter out of Tennessee. He's a paranormal investigator in Ghost Hunters of Southern Tennessee. We'll talk to him about all of his adventures, his show, right after these words.
Introducing S'mores Frappuccino, this summer only.
You can listen to us anytime, anywhere now. Download our free app now for the iPhone and iPad. Look for the WarrenXchange or House of Mystery app at the Apple App Store today.
Who's watching me?
Okay, we're back. Joining us, Richard Ruland, and thank you for taking the time.
Oh, no problem. It's a pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity.
So, for the people that don't know you and haven't come across you before, let's start out with who you are.
I'm Richard Ruland. I'm the founder of Ghost Paranormal here in Tennessee, and the host of the show Hunting the Unknown Truth, and host of another show getting ready to break out here in a little while called The Haunted Travelers. And I've been in the paranormal for, eons. As an organized team leader and team member, about 9 years.
Wow. What got you into it?
Honestly, I think like everybody else, it was a personal experience. My father passed away when I was 18, and I noticed about 3 days after he had passed, his apparition actually appeared in the dining room chair that was, his chair. And I kind of brushed it off, didn't think a whole lot about it. Now, he was also a heavy smoker. 3 packs a day, really bad. And my mom and I collected all the ashtrays up one night, cleaned them all, stacked them all up, we were going to throw them all out. Stacked them up in the kitchen counter. Now, he was very methodical about where they go. They go here, they go there, you can pick them up, clean them, and put them back. Well, we stacked them on the kitchen counter, not thinking a whole lot about it. I came out the next night. Now, I'm a very light sleeper, so my mom didn't get by me. But I came out the next morning, and they're all exactly placed where they were before. So that began the journey of what in the world's going on. And I have other issues too, I guess, and I call them issues only because I'm not sure how to pinpoint them all. I have something called clairaudience, which is the ability to actually hear the spirits without the aid of having a digital recorder or earbuds. I can actually hear what they're saying to me. And I also have some sensitivities and some psychic abilities. And it kind of makes it for a really weird life. Because, you go through nights where, I used to wake my wife up and go, "What'd you say?" No, I didn't say anything. God bless her. I mean, she had to go through that night after night after night when we first got married. And then I began researching it a little bit and researching online and realizing that, hey, you're sensitive, so guess what? They're going to come in droves to visit you and try to see if you can help them, whatever. And that's when I began to realize that I needed to find a way to kind of block them. So I found a way to do that, thankfully. But it's been a real roller coaster. And the years you spend in this business, the more sensitive you become.
Right.
So it's gotten a little bit wilder a ride over the last 3 years.
When did you first start realizing you were hearing things, like hearing spirits?
It's funny you bring that up, because a lot of people have never brought that up before. I was doing a private case. We still do private cases even today. If people need our help, we're there. And this lady called us up some years ago, here in the town I live in, and she says, "Look, can you guys come out and investigate my home? Tell me what's going on." So we always do a walkthrough of the home with the homeowner during the daytime, so she's comfortable or whatever, going over the hot spots and going over the areas of activity. And I had two other guys with me that were on the team, and their voices are very recognizable. And we were in her master bedroom, and I always carry a digital recorder operating and recording all the time. I just bring it on me, I stick it in an arm pouch, an MP3 player pouch. Just leave it running, leave it recording. I mean, it's just a thing I do. And we got to her bedroom, and she asked me a question. I even forget how minor the question was. I just remember it being a very minor question, something I shouldn't even have thought twice about the answer on. And I said, "Well, why it is," and I went blank for a moment, and I went, "I don't know." And I remember kicking myself and going, "Why did you say you don't know? It's a very simple question." So I go back and I review the audio, and I'm going through, we get to the point where we're in her room, and I hear the two other guys, their voices are very distinguishable, and I hear her ask me the question, and I hear myself go, "Well, why it is," and then I shut down for a minute. In that split second of shutting down, you hear a male voice go, "I don't know." I went, "I don't know." So it wasn't disembodied. Nobody else heard it. And it wasn't an EVP because it interrupted and made me interpret what it wanted to say. Pretty much telling me what to tell her. And it was really unnerving when I first realized what was going on. And I went to a couple of people that are psychic mediums and people I trusted in the field. And so, look, this is what's going on, man. I'm used to hacking these things down and hunting them down and gathering evidence and whatever and bringing this stuff to light for the public to see. But this is really happening. This trouble is real.
Yeah.
And they told me, "Rich, you're a clairaudient. You can hear them without the aid of a device, and that'll probably answer your sleepless night questions and things like that," and which it did. But that's when I began to realize that there's a lot more to this than just laying out a digital recorder or turning on a camera. There's a lot more interaction going on with the average public, the average person, than I actually originally thought of. I mean, you hear people say, "Well, the door opened and closed on its own." Well, these entities, these spirits, are really, really trying to communicate. They're not wanting just to open and close the door to freak you out. They want you to know they're there. They want to interact. The intelligent spirits are in most places, they thrive on people who are sensitivities because they know you can hear them, see them, feel them. So they come out of the literal woodwork to be able to interact with you, and it's an occasion they probably don't get very often. So when they do, they take it and they run with it. You know what I mean?
Right. So how did you handle that? So what have you done to kind of gain control of being able to hear it? Like,
honestly, it's a great question because I wanted to bring it up for people who have sensitivities, people that, and I know a lot of them do. Yeah, I think the average percentage I read the other day is that 68% of the average Americans have some latent abilities. It could be sensitivity, it could be some psychic ability, it could be you have some mediumship abilities, you have clairaudience. There's something about you that is different than the other 32% of America. So when I had this happen to me, I went to a medium that I'd worked with for a long while, and I said, look, this is what's going on. And he said, well, I was wondering how long it was going to take you to come to me about it. Well, thanks. How do I block it? How do I control it? Because it unnerves me, to tell you the truth. You're out of control when somebody's able to communicate with you through that kind of communication. You don't really have any control over it. So it really unnerved me. And, he said, look, what I need you to do is before you go to sleep at night, and this is what I recommend to people who are bothered at night by activity, is in your mind's eye, when you're sitting outside of your bed, envision a very big dial. And envision a dial on 10, and in your mind's eye, envision yourself turning it down to 0. And that will actually block out the majority of the activity. And he's right. If you can convince yourself you're turning down the level of sensitivity to 0, your mind will block out a majority of what's going on. And I've actually been able to sleep better at night now that I can do that. But it's something that I've taught people how to do that have sensitivities. One of my clients from a couple of years ago, her 4-year-old is a medium. God bless this little child. She's had bad guys come out of the closet. She's had stuff, dead people walk up and talk to her. It's really been unnerving for her. So now that she's a little older, I think she's now 6. I'm working with her a little bit and trying to work with her, but it's, being at such a young age is tough. But I deal with a lot of adolescents. I deal with a lot of teenagers that are dealing with this, and God love them, especially their female teens. They are absolutely the target of a lot of paranormal activity. And I've had parents, oh, why is that? Well, they're going through a really weird hormonal process, and that makes them very viable as a target by paranormal activity. So I've had to teach a lot of parents, teach their daughters how to do this, how to teach their sons how to do this, and then as well as adults that, living in a home where, they may be sensitive or they may be a medium and they don't really know it, and they're wondering where all this activity is coming from. Well, they're coming to talk to you, and unless you block them, they're going to get their way, one way or the other, if they drive you crazy doing it. So we've had to educate a lot of people on how to live with paranormal activity because of who they are.
Right.
So
has there been times that it's kind of scared you or kind of gotten out of control, do you think?
With me personally?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple of cases over the last number of years that were demonic possessions. And God, I really hate using that word because it's so pushed around in mainstream media and all over the television. Oh, it's demonic, man. In reality, do some research. You'll come to find out that a good 90% of paranormal activity is not demonic. You come through research finding out that, a demon really could care less about scratching you. A demon could care less about propping up in a corner and scaring you. They have no care about that at all. All they're there to do is absorb all the energy around them. And if you get in the way, you're gonna know it. But they're not going to go out of their way to put up little pranks to scare you. That is not demonic. And I fear, that it will all become a little more aware because of television. I hate saying that because I'm a host of a show myself, but now that we've all become a little more aware, I think the educational process, as a host, as a show host, you have a responsibility to the public. You have a responsibility to bring them the truth. There's a show on TV called Ghost Asylum on Destination America. A great bunch of guys. Tennessee Wraith Chasers is a group that actually does that show. The term wraith chaser is actually derived out of the Bible. The Bible calls wraiths familiars. The vampire movies use the terminology of familiar very loosely. Basically, it's the guy who wants to be the bad guy and wants to be the vampire but isn't. So he does a lot of the things that he can do or she can do to kind of make them more familiar with their master or the person they're serving. And that's what a race is. A race is not a demon, but a race gets more powerful as they get older, and they're more capable of doing different things as they get older as well. And that's a lot of what we're dealing with. I've had people call me up and go, Rich, I think it's demonic, man. I go in this room and the hair stands up in the back of my neck. Great. That means it's not demonic. A demon is not going to waste their time with that garbage. They're a negative energy force. They're not a positive energy force. And it's educating the public is what's really tough to do when you have it. And Zach and the guys on GAC, I know they got a job to do. I know they got a show to run. You know what I mean? I get it. But I'm a little concerned about what we're feeding the public.
Right.
And that's part of the reason why we were doing the show Hunting the Unknown Truth as we have, and hoping to educate the public. And then now with our new show, trying to educate the public in a different way. We've realized that there's a lot more enthusiasts out there now than there ever were. A lot of our fan base is reaching out and trying to do hunts on their own. They want to learn. They want to know more. I mean, it's kind of one of those topics where if you see it, you want to do it, so you can learn more. So you gotta reach out and start doing it. And that's part of the reason why we started this second show, because it's really designed to help protect the public.
Okay. So now, what are you doing in this show that's different? The Haunted Traveler show?
Yeah, the Haunted Traveler show, I've aligned myself up with a couple of gadget guys. One in particular, Michael Acosta, who's a gadget guy. He's real big on, the newest gadget out there, the newest this, newest that. He's a techie. I mean, he's a geek-preneur geek. I've also lined myself up with a very accurate, very successful medium, psychic medium on my staff for the show. The show's premise is very simple. We're going to become the Consumer Reports version of the paranormal. Okay? So if there's a piece of equipment out there, we're going to get it, we're going to buy it, we're going to test it in the field, and we're going to give you a report on it. It's going to be up to a 100-point score to get an A. They're going to get 30 points for this, 30 points up to 30 points for that, and then 10 points for how well it gathers evidence, because that evidence is very subjective. So the other 90 points are based on, like for equipment, for example, the other 90 points are based on 30 points being cost and value, the other 30 points being ease of use in the field, and the other 30 points being does it do what it's supposed to do for the dollar. And we're also redoing venues. We're going to go out to these paid venues where you go out and actually pay money to go and hunt. And we're going to grade them, on 30-point systems again, up to 30 points on customer service level. How were they when you try to book the thing? How were they when you got there? What did they go through? What did they give you? Next 30 points is amenities. Is there power? Is there a command center place? Is there restrooms? I mean, simple things like this. And you go out and you try to do, team hunts with ladies, and all you got's a tree, you got a problem. And again, I've been in situations where there were no restrooms available, and we had to drive 3 minutes up the road to go to a restroom. And those kind of things, and again, cost.
Right.
Comparatively, is it cost effective? Per member of 10, let's say, how much does it cost each member to go? And, I've been and I've heard and I've seen and I've talked to a lot of people, okay? And, I'm at this just like everybody else is. We all put our own almighty dollar we worked our butt out for every single day. We put that out there on the hope that we'll go to this location because somebody said it's great, drop how much money it costs to go in there and come out pissed off. Or, come out disappointed. Or we'll go out and drop our hard-earned money on a piece of equipment and have it be crap.
Right.
So our job is going to be, it's not going to make us the most popular guy in the world because not everybody's 100%. We're going to have some people who are not going to be thrilled with us. But our job, we feel we have a responsibility to the paranormal investigative enthusiasts, the fans, the friends, the teams, that go out there with a hard-earned money and spend money on this stuff, spend money on these places, and don't have a clue whether or not they're worth the cash. We have venues that are charging upwards of $1,500 for 10 people to go out and investigate to an abandoned building.
Right.
I mean, you're talking $150 a piece, and there's one in particular that if you don't have your own liability insurance, they charge you for that on top of your $1,500.
Right.
You're in there 12 hours, whatever, and you drop $200 a person to go in there, hard-earned cash, again. And I've had people go into these venues and drop their $200 worth of hard-earned cash per person, call me up after they went to a venue I recommended that was at $350 for 10 hours and 12 people. They call me up and go, Rich, I'm mad. Well, what are you mad about? Dude, I dropped 1/4 of the money on a place you recommended last weekend, and I paid 5 times almost the money to go to this place, and I caught 1/3 the evidence I caught at your place. And that's the other thing. That's the reason why we're doing it. And again, we're only leaving 10% of even the venue grade because 10% is for evidence gathering, again, because it's subjective.
Right.
You're in a room with 6 or 7 sensitive psychic mediums, clairaudience, whatever. You're going to get more activity than a regular 6 Joes in that room. So we're still leaving at 10% of. I mean, if we go in there, we drop 8 hours with a time, 9 hours with a time on that venue and come out with squat, that 10 points is going to hurt.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we're just trying to get the right value for the dollar for the enthusiast, the fan, the friend, the team. People who call me up and go, Rich, what do you recommend? Rich, where do you go? What do you want to recommend? We're going to have a website that follows the show. So when we do another location, it'll then be up on our website, and you can drop down and see, Tennessee, and see the locations that we've done, pull those up, read the scores, watch the full hour of investigations by clicking the hyperlink, watch the full hour of investigation we've done, and read the reviews. It'll also give you the contact number for the venue, the person to contact. It'll give you a directory that nobody has right now. I mean, to me, that's what we all need, because we all work ourselves to death for the almighty dollar. To have to drop it on a piece of equipment or a venue that isn't worth it, to me, or hey Rich, I'm in Tennessee, so I could either drop $650 on that venue, or I could drop $350 on that venue, catch more evidence at the $350 venue, and not waste an extra $300. And they're only an hour apart.
Yeah, it's really tough to decide who's just doing it for a business and who's not.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. You've got people, I've been in this business a long time, so I've known a lot of property owners. And I know why some are doing this for what reasons. And, as I live and breathe in this business, I come to realize that it's becoming more and more a business than it is hey, there are people out there who might be interested in this. Let's just charge them a nominal fee for taking the building over for the night, and let's let them have a good time. And then you get the people out there who go, hey, I got to wait for us to pay the property taxes on this place for the next 10 years over the next course of the year by charging these guys, $1,500 to come out to basically an abandoned empty building and get your anywho on. I think the public is worth more. I know our fans are worth more. And, I find it to be a responsibility that we have to our enthusiasts, and there's a lot of enthusiasts out there, and to the teams that we work with and we know, and to the fans that, maybe this place over here would be better for the dollar than that place over there. You don't have to make that decision, but at least when you make the decision, you'll be informed.
Right. Now, are there TV shows out there that you think are doing it right?
Oh, wow.
I mean,
really opened up that can of worms, didn't you?
Well, I mean, everybody that knows me knows I'm jaded on that. I sort of think that, well, I guess most of them, I think they're running it as a business. I think most of it, like when you see the shows on TV, you have what they want you to see. It's entertainment. And if you've been
it's theatrics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been?
I will tell you, I've been on GAC show. I was flown out to Las Vegas about 6 or 7 months ago, and I did a show with Zach and Aaron called Aftershocks, which I think is coming out next month. Yeah, and I'm very upfront, and our fans know this. I don't play games. I don't pull punches. There'll never be another Ghost Hunter show, ever. There'll never be another, I'm talking about the one that's on Sci-Fi. There'll never be another one of those. Even if they get another season, if they're lucky, there'll never be another show like that on air. There'll never be another GAC, ever. Those two have run their gamut. They've run their game. And when the popularity wanes, the new breed of show coming out now is ultra different. They're less theatric. They're more scientific. I look at a show, and I've got a buddy of mine on this one, Ghost Asylum. They do a lot of scientific projects and experiments in the attempt to try to capture a spirit. Good luck. I've never known anybody that's been able to do it, so good luck. But at least they're putting forth a scientific, intelligent effort. They're not dumbing down America. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a lot of shows out there now, a couple of them in particular, are dumbing down America. As a ghost hunter, as a paranormal investigator myself, I'm tainted in my opinion because, okay, here we go. Yeah. Ghost hunters on Sci-Fi, anybody go out to a haunted location like Hales Bar Dam here in Tennessee and come out with 3 EVPs and a weird noise? Dude, I get that in my bedroom. Okay? I get that in my flipping bedroom. And then we have the other guys, and one in particular I'll pick on all day long, dude, oh my God, dude, it's demonic. Come on, man. Literally, really? Yeah. We've got to become a little more realistic, a little more truthful with the public. And his whole show, his whole gamut, his whole game is derived on theatrics. And, so be it. If that's what gets your audience, whatever. There's another show called Ghost Stalker on Destination America. Guy I know, David Roundtree's on that show, John Tenney, and Chad, something or other, is a medium. I have a problem with this show only in the fact that David Roundtree's probably one of the most intelligent guys I've ever met in my life, ever. The problem with it is that primetime America is not ready for that kind of nerdy yet. This guy knows way too much. He's ultra brainy, and people watch shows nowadays for the oh my God factor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They watch shows for the holy crap. Did you just see that? They don't watch it to learn about there's a wormhole in that corner, and this device will pick up that wormhole, and they really could care less.
Yeah.
I wanted to have a show out there that people could follow, enjoy, learn something from, let it help them a little bit with our new show. The old show we've done, and we probably will continue to do Hunting the Unknown Truth. That is really nothing other than a ghost hunting show that allows you to see what a medium does on the show, because we use a full-time medium for that. It takes you through some of the really crazy places we've been to, and it's all natural excitement. We get a ton of evidence because of everybody that's on the team, and that kind of stuff brings a lot of fun. But to me, there's a lot of ghost hunting shows that are now. They've got one coming out. I heard through the grapevine. There's one coming out. There's going to be a single guy, and his job is, generational gapping or generational genetic linking to haunted locations. Somebody that can go through the genealogy of a building, and and track down who is there and why they're there. Well, yeah. The problem with that is, the problem with watching any kind of ghost hunting show is, as a paranormal investigator, even as a strong enthusiast, you're tainted because you know a little bit more about the business than the average viewer, and you're going to look at some of these shows and laugh heartedly because, here's an example. Ghost Talkers. They've got a medium on there, goes into a place by himself. Him and a camera. Okay. Now, again, he's a medium, right? Psychic medium. Okay. He's in these rooms or in these houses. He starts screaming hysterically as he heard somebody call his name. Now, you're a psychic medium. Did you know that was coming? I mean, did you know what instant he was going to try to do what? I mean, I've worked with some amazing psychic mediums, and they didn't do crap before you even hit the building. I mean, this young guy here scream like a 5-year-old girl.
Yeah.
On it is probably fun to watch, but then it becomes again entertainment.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure where the place is for that either. So I know that paranormal entertainment television is looking for a niche to where they can get the scientific end of it to take care of the nerds, the investigative end of it to be able to take care of the investigative people and the enthusiasts, and have it all come together in one little intelligent, fun package. And it's becoming tougher and tougher. So, it's a real shot in the dark. Paranormal entertainment television is really sitting on the edge of collapsing.
Right.
I think. When Ghost Hunters goes away, and I really think they're done, I think they're going away. Well, when Ghost Hunters goes away, you're left with GAC. And unless I'm built like Brad Pitt, and I'm not, you gotta look at what is the value of the television show you're watching? Is there any value in it? And at that point, you have to look at your viewership, and you have to say, okay, viewership, are you looking at this for the actual package of the value, or you just want to look at some guy take his shirt off and show off his tattoo?
Right. Yeah. I think that's the quality.
That's really what it's down to.
Yeah. And I think the quality's kind of, unfortunately, people aren't always looking for quality, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kicker.
Yeah. It's too bad. I mean, they end up going through McDonald's drive-thru. They're not looking for a good meal. So now you've listed that you've worked with mediums right through, so you don't have any issues working with mediums. Unlike, let's say, ghost hunters, they've never really had a medium.
What's funny is Ghost Hunters hasn't, but GAC started to. They realized, oh, God, there's a value there. Honestly, I'm not sure why Ghost Hunters has never done that. I've worked with mediums now for 2 years. Right. And, on our new show, we're going to be working with another one who's phenomenal. I think they bring a different aspect to the show. I think they bring a different aspect of what the viewer would like to see. I think the viewer gets tired of seeing everybody in green screen. So we have our medium that'll be coming in. We'll be doing a walkthrough of the venue. There's claims of a little boy by the name of Joey who haunts the building. They don't tell me, is Joey really here? I mean, is there really a Joey here? We had that same issue come up at Hales Bar Dam. There was a big thing a long time ago about a Mary in a corner. Mary's corner in the bottom of the tunnel. And when I brought a medium in, he's like, well, it's not Mary. First of all, it's Margaret. Number one. Number two, she does not like going in the tunnel. She only goes down where people call her to go. She really doesn't like it. So it brings a lot of different lights to the venue, to the investigation, because our medium is actually also an investigator.
Our guest tonight, Richard Ruland. Our subject, Hunting the Unknown Truth. We'll be back right after this break.
I'm really psyched Subway's bringing the flavor with this new guacamole for a couple of reasons. First, people really love our guacamole. Rich and creamy, made from Hass avocados and just a hint of jalapeno to keep it interesting. The other reason is, it's just really fun to say. Guacamole.
Guacamole.
Guacamole. Guacamole. Guacamole. Guacamole. See?
Come in and try our new guacamole on sandwiches like the Chipotle Chicken Melt and discover how it turns up the flavor on all your favorite sandwiches.
Subway. Eat fresh.
Are you sitting out there lonely and feeling left out? Do you want to be included in the world of the paranormal, but really don't know how? We have the paranormal solution for you. Call us at 1-800-RENT-A-GHOST. We can deliver everything from a timid spirit that walks the halls or one that simply opens a cabinet door. Or you can get a feisty poltergeist that can trash your house and really liven things up. We can get you as many shadow people as you need to have a party. Do you have too many unwanted friends or family just barging in? Our screaming and wailing banshee will guarantee that after hearing some deafening anguish, they will never return. Impress your friends or take revenge with a specter of death hovering over your dinner table or theirs. Or if you're lonely, you might like a simple attachment that follows you everywhere. EVPs? Choose from our line of celebrity voices. What investigator would not want to hear Jim Morrison or Whitney Houston? Or maybe Michael Jackson or Kurt Cobain? Order now and get 3 free orbs. We are 1-800-RENT-A-GHOST. Not responsible for damage caused by poltergeist activity, divorce, loss of job, sleep deprivation, bedwetting, uncontrolled vomiting, suicide, or the possibility of being hospitalized for insanity. And most important, there will be no returns.
Runs right through me. Sometimes too blind to see the mirror between you and me. Boomerang me. Mind orgy. Like a songbird melody whose cage is really free. Hypnotize me. 3D styling. I rock a money for your smiley cause it's really recommended quite highly. DJ spinning. He's stepping into just what you're feeling. Want to listen to what the DJ spinning. He's stepping into just what you're feeling.
Supernatural, perhaps. Supernatural, perhaps. Supernatural, perhaps. Supernatural.
We now return you to our program.
This sort of thing ain't my bag, baby.
And so who do you go to when you do come across something that you think is demon-possessed or really evil?
Well, I mean, thankfully the medium that I work with has the ability to exercise. I don't, everybody will say, call a priest. Well, here's the problem. A lot of times the priests have no clue of what you're dealing with, and if you come in there with a weak faith in what you're doing, you're going to do more harm than good. I also have a bishop who is trained and ordained in delivering a Christian rite of exorcism, so I've got that pretty well covered. But again, the really true demonic encounters are so rare that I'm not really that concerned about it yet. I mean, in 9 years, I've had 2 encounters.
Right.
9 years. So, I mean, but I have both the medium who does cleansings and, should do the regular, elemental cleansing. And then I have, again, the bishop who can actually do the Christian rite of, passing people on and moving them on to, the light. So, I mean, I'm trying my best to cover every angle, because we still will do residentials. We still will help people out. So we're going to use the medium, we're going to use our investigation team, and we're going to use our gadget guys, and we're going to try to bring what I believe to be the truth behind the venues and the equipment to life. But I really haven't had to worry about it too much. I've done myself a little over 30 cleansings in the last 2 years, and have not had to go back once. I feel pretty blessed behind that. And I've dealt with some pretty nasty stuff. But, my problem is in this business is that we've got, I think I read somewhere the other day, some really absolutely mystifying number I think somebody said there was a new team born in Tennessee alone every month. and the problem I have here is, you see where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
The problem I have here is not that they're forming new teams. My problem is a lack of education. We mentor as a team ourselves. We mentor 5 different teams now. And, we want to make sure that everybody gets a proper education. So we will meet, we will hunt together, we'll, teach each other stuff. We get together and, and educate each other, continue our education going forward. And we've had teams reach out to us, hey, Rich, what do I do about this? And that's really what we want to do. I mean, everybody calls it para-unity. That's cool. I mean, I love it as para-unity, but you've got to have the maturity, I do say this, maturity, to reach out to a team that may know more than you do, or may have more experience than you do, and have the maturity to reach out to them for help.
Yeah. But, I think that's sort of the problem with the popular television shows. I mean, they're going to see that and think that that's what they do. They're not realizing all the extra that goes into it.
And again, my real problem is that if you watch these shows, they're not doing residentials anymore. When Ghost Hunters came out, they were doing residentials. When GAC came out, they started doing a residential and they went to the Goldfield Hotel. They stopped doing residentials because they realized they can't help these people. They realized that I can go in there and tell you what's going on, and I can play this evidence back for you, but I can't help you. I mean, you get people go in to Ghost Hunters, and then come out and go, listen, we don't listen to a couple of pieces of evidence we got. It's a little crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Thanks for letting us in. And they leave. And nowadays, nobody's doing residentials because they've got a responsibility to take care of the residential. I mean, you think that mother of 3 really wants to leave here knowing they just heard 3 or 4 crazy things on EVPs and you're going to leave them with it? Are you kidding me?
So now, who do you have as influences?
Me personally, as an influence? Well, I actually look up to my mediums. I worked with 3. I look up, honestly, I look up to them because they know, because of the interaction with the other side, they know more than I do. I mean, the scientific stuff we use, the scientific equipment we use, is just that. It does this. It lights up if something comes in contact with it and it gives off static electricity, the light will light up. Yay! But as far as getting to know the intimate ins and outs of the other side, but that's really what I want to learn now, is really going through them. I've learned so much from my mediums I've worked with over the years that I look to them even more for continued education. I've learned more respect. I've learned more compassion for the dead than I ever have before. I mean, years ago, frankly, I was Megan's. I'd go out and poke a stick at you if you're a ghost. Come out here, perform, dance for me, pony. I mean, I was that guy. Yeah. And then a number of years ago, I bumped into a medium who explained this to me of what it's like to be on the other side. And it opened my eyes. I mean, it was an education I'd never heard or seen from anyone. And I've come to find that, for the time that we've been doing it the way we've been doing it as a show, we've derived and we've gained and we've garnered more evidence than we ever did poking a stick at it.
Right.
It's amazing what a little bit of respect and compassion will get you in the other side.
So
that's what I look to.
Yeah. And so now, how many investigations are you doing with the Tennessee Paranormal team now? Like, how many do you do roughly in a month?
Well, it was a lot more until the shows.
Yeah.
The people want to really slow this down a lot. We were at 267 as of January. And then your shows really kicked in heavy. Now I'm looking at a second show. And it really slowed down the amount. We were doing an investigation a weekend. And we got to a point where we were actually handing cases over to our family teams because we just couldn't handle them. And, you know, we work with a couple of family teams that we put together. We call it the Paranormal Mafia. Because I know how these teams operate. I know that they have the ability to cleanse. I know that they have the ability to truly help the client. So I will turn cases over to them because I know they operate the way we do. And that's really rare. But it got to a point where it was every weekend that we were doing another case. We will probably get to 2 a month as far as that goes, but they're going to be shows. They're not going to be actual residentials unless we get one off the side that we need to go and do, and then we'll do it. But right now we're handing off the residential cases and all of that to the teams, our family teams that we have, because we just, you know, trying to prepare for the shows really takes up a lot of time.
Right. Is there a place that stuck out for you in that you've investigated that's sort of been, I don't know if I want to say the word scary, but one that's just sort of, well, I guess, haunted you?
Well, I'll tell you the one that has stuck out that nobody can get in anymore, which is sad. But Hales Bar Dam in Tennessee, here in Hales, Tennessee. Was on GEC. Ghost Hunters did it. GEC did it. Probably for me was my number one most active location ever. It taught me a lot because the place was so active and so intelligent in its activity. I would say a good 98, 99% of what was in that building, and there was a lot of it in that building, was intelligent. Every time you went in there, it was absolutely a different experience. Every time you went in there, you got different evidence. I mean, you can literally have conversations if you were listening to your digital recorder with earbuds, like we do, real-time EVPs. You can literally have a conversation with things in that building. I've been scratched in that building. I've been shoved in that building. I've been threatened in that building. And a lot of people go, why the hell did you go back? It's one of those kind of things where it's a challenge. You know, what did that to me? Why did it do that to me? And you go back in again to try to interact with it, find out why. Why would you do that? Why did you do that? I think over the years, I think we've investigated that place 12 times.
Right.
I mean, it's within an hour and 15 minutes of my home. But we've done 3 shows on the place. And the last show we did there, we actually had an apparition on camera walk right out of the wall and hook right into that hallway. There's just so much history in that place. It has a natural whirlpool, 2 of them, actually, and it generates an EMF field that keeps all this going. And I'm really concerned for the spirits that are there because now the place is shut down from any kind of interaction with the public, and there's nobody in there engaging it. And that place is just going to start blowing up on its own. I mean, it's going to start spreading out. It'll look for its own activity with somebody. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with it. But that would be my number one place.
Right. And now, so what do you think of equipment like the Ghost Box?
Wow. You know, originally I didn't have a lot of faith in the Spirit Box or the Ghost Box. I then talked to a guy by the name of Steve Huff from Huff Paranormal. And the first product, I'm going to give it away a little bit, but the first product we're doing on the show is the Spirit Communication Device, or SCD-1. That is a laptop application, and it's soon to be available on Android and on the iPod and the iPad store, or iStore. And it's really probably one of the most accurate devices I've ever seen in that genre of devices. One of my gadget guy, Michael Acosta, actually did a YouTube video where he's using the SCD-1 box with the digital recorder, because a lot of the EVPs are caught in the white noise, not actually in the what you hear, in the white noise. And he had pieces of paper turned upside down. And he would point to the paper and ask the question, what's on this piece of paper? And 9 out of 10 questions were accurate. He would flip the paper over and it would show you what the answer was. And they were accurate. So, and some of the other devices, I'm not really sure, but the first part we're testing out is the SCD one in the field. And based on the preliminary testing, it's going to be a phenomenal product. I've never really tried the Spirit Box. My problem with all of that is the white noise. My head just gets so clouded with it. That's why I'm kind of glad I got a guy like Michael Acosta to do that for me. He'll sit there listening to that. I can't do it. It gives me a headache. But it has a place, and, we want to test the product out for Huff Paranormal, and we're going to do that. But, I mean, to me, as a clairaudient, it really doesn't have a lot of space for me. But for the average enthusiast, I think it could be a good device. I think you really just kind of have to look at it at face value,
Right. And what's your personal favorite piece of equipment then?
Oh, wow. Honestly, a guy by the name of Jeremy owns a company called Paranologies. And Paranologies makes a lot of different devices now. But back in the day, he made one that I still use, and it's called a Periscope. And it is a static filtering device which has a set of tubes with wires in them for filters. It actually lights up green to red in color scale, red being the highest point. There's something giving off static, which what entities give off, makes contact with this device within a foot of this device, up to 5 feet, it'll go off, and it'll follow, the lights will follow where the spirit is going. That is probably still, to this day, my favorite piece of equipment for, $80. I know they got a lot of gadgets out now that I'm sure we're going to look to try to test, but that is still probably my ultimate favorite.
What do you think the biggest misconception about the whole industry, if I use that word, but the whole paranormal business is?
The misconception?
Yeah, like what do you think as the public, what do you think the biggest misconception is? Do you think that they see things as it is?
Honestly, I think the biggest misconception the public has about what we do is that it's anywhere near glamorous. There are times I have sat in a building for 8 hours, trying not to go to sleep, and I'm caught squawk. People look at our show and they like us. I mean, we were up to 1.800 and some odd thousand viewers on Hunting the Unknown Truth, and that's a 1 hour show, 42 minutes, and people don't realize it took 2 days and 14 hours worth of film time a day to get there. And I think people have a misconception of they can go out, they can go into a building, they can come out with a ton of evidence. Oh my God, I saw 3 ghosts. It really doesn't happen that way. And I think that's the biggest misconception the public has.
Yeah, and so
they quite realize what all goes into what we do.
Yeah. Where do you see it going in the future, in the next 10 years?
I see it becoming a lot more scientific than it ever has. I think we're going to look at, now we've got a lot smarter people in the world besides myself. I think we're going to see a lot more devices that are able to prove existence better. I think we're going to see a lot more caught on camera, because I think the photography, videography portion of what we do is becoming a lot more sensitive, becoming a lot more viable, and I think we're going to see a lot more, apparitions being caught on camera. We're going to see a lot more scientific data being used to be able to viably prove, hey, we were here, this happened, this is what registered. I actually know of a guy right now that's working on a project for us It's a product that actually will label everybody's individual energy levels when you come in a room. So you'll come to a room, it'll say, at 2:03 a.m., Richard came in a room, just based off of your own energy level. I see these kind of things happening. I see everything going a lot more high-tech. Unfortunately, I see things are becoming a lot more cost-prohibitive.
Right.
See.
Yeah. And how do you think religion plays into the role of the paranormal?
I'm sorry, what place?
Religion.
Wow. That's kind of rough right there. You're hitting me with these questions, dude.
Well, you don't have to go too heavy on it. I was just, because, you know...
Well, no, I was a minister for 3.5 years. I can go real heavy on it.
Well, I think more so as in, I've seen over the time, religious points of view with paranormal has changed. You know,
yeah.
It was quite negative in the 60s. I mean, if you had any paranormal inclinations, or anything like that, it was always thought of as the devil.
Oh yeah, you're hunting demons.
Yeah, you're something evil, and now not so much.
Well, honestly, I live in the Bible Belt. Okay, so I have a little bit of a tougher time on it than most people do. I was a minister for 3.5 years. The biggest misconception that the abiding faithful have is they don't read their own Bible. If they read their own Bible, they wouldn't be coming at me with the questions that they do. How can you believe in ghosts? Well, Christ did. What? Yeah. The Bible says when he was walking across the lake, they were afraid. He said, "Do not be afraid, for I'm not a ghost, for ghosts not a flesh and bone as I am." What? Christ said there were ghosts? Uh-huh. We get a lot of, okay, so demons. We all die, we go to heaven and hell immediately. No, we don't. The Bible says so. What? Yeah. So when he returns with the trumpet of God, they'll take those who are asleep in Christ first. When the Bible means asleep, it means dead, physically dead. They'll take those who are asleep in Christ, which means Christians first. So we're all waiting on the second coming, right? Yeah, okay, cool. What are we doing in the interim? Catholics call it purgatory. Not saying they're right, not saying they're wrong. But don't come at me and whack me in the head with a Bible unless you're prepared to read it. And that's part of my challenge too. And I think when you reach out to people, I've had a lot of, I won't say names because, God knows. I've had a lot of ministers who have reached out to me personally on the KT, on the down low. I had something really weird happen in my house the other day, Richard. Really? It's a real shame that the lack of education is still harboring this ill will towards what we do. But it has gotten better. You're right. It has gotten a little more relaxed. People are not being scolded anymore, shunned from their church. They mention that they have paranormal activity going on. They're probably told to quit drinking.
Yeah.
But it's not anything anymore where people are blaspheming to hell,
Yeah. And so where do you see yourself coming out here in the future here? Do you have any events or any things that you're going to coming up shortly?
Honestly, we're so bogged down right now with the show schedules that I was asked to do an event in Texas and I had to turn it down. I probably will go to it. There's been a lot of, as I'm sure you've read, there's been a lot of hoopla about the whole Tombstone event. That's a whole other show, I think.
Yeah.
But, unfortunately and honestly, I was actually a part of that talent group that was supposed to go to that as a part of the talent. And either my spirit guides and or my wife kind of against me out of it, saying it's not a good idea, something don't feel right, it's not a good idea, something don't feel right. 3 months prior to the actual event, I canceled. And I also canceled on Floss, which is the event before that, which also failed miserably.
Yeah.
And, it's getting rougher and rougher now. There's a group out there now, think it's called ASAP, and Entertainment or Events, and they sound like they've got their stuff together. And I've approached them about doing events with them, but it's really tough out there. I mean, you got to watch out for yourself. You got to watch out for your fans. You can tell your fans to come somewhere. My God, you need to have that thing actually happen. There's a couple of diehard staples like Scarefest and things like that, and Comic-Con, but when you get these other Southside small events, there's been some problems with a few of those. So I tend to be a lot more cautious about the events I plan. But I think I will be doing some events. I'll let everybody know when the time comes.
Great. Okay, so now the Haunted Travelers show, when do you plan on releasing that?
Well, actually, we're starting filming next month. We haven't even filmed our first show yet. The process to get this done was a lot more involved than, as far as the production goes, is a lot more involved than my other show was, because there's a lot more facets to the show. We're not just going to kick off a show just say, oh, we kicked off a show. We're going to kick it off with something done correctly. So we're going to be filming our first show next month. We'll have the first season wrapped up by September. We'll start airing the shows as they become available from the production company, not wait until the entire season filmed and then start filming or start showing it. So as they become available from our producers and our editors, we'll put them up. That way the public isn't waiting on 6 months for them to come out.
Right.
And I'll be doing, of course, a lot of marketing for that. But our first venue's already been picked. For your listeners, I'll tell them now, it's Octagon Hall. Have you ever heard of Octagon Hall?
No, I don't.
Phenomenal venue in Kentucky. Just over the line in Kentucky. Civil War, hospital, slave quarters. Based on what I hear, probably one of the most unique and active venues out there. So, we're going to go out and we're going to go out there and grade that. And grade that, and we're going to use the SCD-1 box to be able to use it in the field so the viewers can see how it operates in the field. And we're going to bring that show to light. That'll be the first show that actually gets aired.
Wow. Okay. How do people get a hold of you?
Well, they want to see something about the show or talk about the show, they can go to the Haunted Travelers on Facebook. They want to get a hold of me personally, they can go to Richard Ruland, R-U-L-A-N-D, on Facebook. Ghost Paranormal is the name of the team's Facebook page. They can do that. They can go to the website, which is www.ghostparanormal.us. I use US because we have a team that is going to become my brother team in the UK, and it will be ghostparanormal.uk. And that's coming up eventually is there as well. So we kept ourselves up. Our show, Hunting the Unknown Truth, is probably easily available on YouTube, on our Hunting the Unknown Truth. We've got all our shows on that. And look forward to bring whatever we can to the public and bring a little bit of truth of what's out there to light.
That's fantastic. Well, it's been a pleasure, and I have to thank you very much for taking the time and talking with us.
Not a problem. I appreciate the opportunity again. I really do.
Show's over for now.
Was it as good for you as it was for me?
Well, good night. This has been a production of the Z-Talk Radio Network.
I'll be back.